Hey guys, Aaron CybertronVGC here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked where I climb the online Series 1 VGC ladder in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and provide live commentary as I go. In this video, I'm going to be featuring a team that reached rank number 1 in the ladder in the beginning of the second rank season in Scarlet and Violet. This team is centered around some really fun strategies, including MOLD BREAKER Tinkaton with Helping Hand. Now, you can pair that with Choice Specs Gholdengo to deal massive amounts of damage across the board. Gholdengo's ability actually prevents you from Helping Handing it normally, but with Tinkaton, with the Mold Breaker, you get to ignore the Gholdengo's ability. And so, Helping Hand, Steal Tera, Make It Rain from Choice Specs Gholdengo is just one of the most powerful attacks that you can have in this game. In addition, you also have Pelipper plus Floatzel. Floatzel is just an absolute monster and can deal massive amounts of damage and threaten things with one-hit knockouts, especially with Wave Crash. And finally, you've got Amoonguss plus Dragonite. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps down in the description below. And thank you so much as always for watching. If you enjoy, would really appreciate it if you consider leaving a like on the video or subscribing to the channel. Really helps me out a ton. Anyway, thanks as always for joining me, and let's talk about this team. So first of all, a huge thank you to VGC for building and sharing this team. I've linked their Twitter down in the description below, as well as a rental and a paste if you want to try it out yourselves. And question of the day, Mold Breaker is such an interesting ability, but we don't see it very often in VGC. So I'm curious what other Pokemon you think maybe should deserve Mold Breaker and what are interesting applications of it if a new Pokemon got it. So let me know down in the comment section below. The first Pokemon I want to talk about on this team is Tinkaton. Now, like I mentioned, the whole point of this is to use Mold Breaker, and Mold Breaker is pretty cool for a couple of things. First of all, you can use it primarily to Helping Hand your Gholdengo, and so you ignore good as gold, and so you're able to actually Helping Hand your Gholdengo, which is really sweet. In addition, Mold Breaker is quite nice into, for example, like Inner Focus Pokemon, right? Dragonite, you can actually fake out and flinch them even if they are Inner Focus, which is pretty cool because often Dragonites don't expect that. So if you see a Dragonite in Team Preview, you might want to think about leading Tinkaton a little bit more just because, yeah, it has the ability to break through Inner Focus as well as, of course, breaking through multi-scale as well. And so, yeah, you are also able to Thunder Wave opposing Gholdengos, which is really cool. So it gives you another means of speed control against Gholdengo, which is always valuable when you're using Gholdengo yourself. Now, this Tinkaton essentially, with this speed investment, outspeeds max speed Excalibur and everything lower than that, and otherwise you've just got a good investment in, bulk max HP and a little bit in the defenses here. And so, Fake Out is pretty self-explanatory. This is just one of the faster Fake Out users you can have in the format as well. Helping Hand, like I mentioned, really critical in enabling Gholdengo and Floatzel, especially to pick up knockouts. And then, Play Rough just so that you have some consistent damage. You could, of course, run Gigaton Hammer, but then it's like, what do you really do after using it once, right? You're stuck maybe clicking Thunder Wave or Helping Hand. With Play Rough, you can actually consistently deal damage, and honestly, fairy coverage is so good in the format, right? Super effective into Annihilate, Garchomp, Hydreigon, just to name a couple of Pokemon. And so even though the Tinkaton doesn't have a lot of attack, like Play Rough can still do pretty decent damage into a lot of Pokemon in the format, which is great. So, yeah, the main thing, once again, is to combine it with the Gholdengo. You've got Grass Tera here, by the way. It still makes you weak to fire, but it covers for ground, which is kind of important, because otherwise, like, Garchomp can be super annoying to fight against. Choice Specs Gholdengo here. This is pretty self-explanatory. Modest, max special attack, Steal Tera, just to maximize damage output. You've got Make It Rain and Shadow Ball, but Power Gem and Thunderbolt for some additional coverage as well. So, Tinkaton and Gholdengo is actually one of the default leads I go to with this team. You've also got Pelipper and Floatzel. It's pretty standard here. The one thing to note here is that the Floatzel is actually Jolly rather than Adamant, so you outspeed, 179 speed and everything lower than that, but it does make you slightly weaker, so keep that in mind. When I had featured Floatzel on the channel previously, I think I had used an Adamant variant, but Jolly gives you, a leg up on speed, which can be quite nice, and the idea is to pair it with Pelipper, set up the rain, Swift Swim activates, and even without Swift Swim, Floatzel's already fast, right? But you set up the rain, and you're super fast. Even if your opponent has set up Tailwind, you also deal so much more damage with your water type attacks. The main idea is to generally use Wave Crash to just pick up big knockouts, but yeah, you can of course use Ice Spinner and Aqua Jet as well. Ice Spinner is really valuable into things like Dragonite, for example, Hydreigon, and Aqua Jet's just good to finish things off. The Pelipper here is pretty interesting, by the way. It's Damp Rock, Drizzle, but it doesn't even have Hydro Pump. It has Helping Hand. I actually find that, like, I didn't use Helping Hand very much in my time practicing with the team, but it makes sense because it allows you to go, like, Pelipper, Floatzel. Helping Hand, Water, Tera, Life Orb, Rain Boosted, Wave Crash, like, I assume just can, like, pick up huge knockouts and things that even resist it, so that's kind of the theory behind Helping Hand. But I did find myself often missing Hydro Pump when using the Pelipper, because Pelipper is so good offensively in this format. But this is a super defensive set, super specially invested set here, which can give you a better matchup into, opposing Gholdengos, for example. Finally, to round out the team, you've got a Amoonguss here. This is Mentor with Dark Tera. Dark Tera is nice, right? It allows you to be immune to psychic type attacks, and that's really important in a format where Armor Rouge and Infinity exist. Mentor is really nice just to prevent you from being taunted, so you can Spore. And this is a Protectless set. You've got Clear Smog to get rid of opposing stat boosts. Really helpful into Dondozo, and then Pollen Puff to heal back up. Really nice, especially with Gholdengo and Floatzel, since they're quite frail. Last Pokemon here is an Assault Vest Dragonite set, and so this Dragonite is really bulky, doesn't really have that much speed investment. You've got Inner Focus here just to, lead a little bit better. For example, if you see Pokemon that can click Fake Out onto your end, Dragonite Gholdengo is a nice lead, because they can't actually flinch either Pokemon thanks to Inner Focus, which I think is really handy. And the Dragonite here has, Dragon Claw for same type attack bonus coverage, Extreme Speed plus Normal Terror, which is kind of the go-to, and then Ice Spinner plus Low Kick for really good coverage as well. So I found in my time playing with this team, like Tinkaton, Gholdengo, Pelipper, Floatzel is a really strong combo. You could go Pelipper, Floatzel, Tinkaton, Gholdengo in the back. I've had games where I go Tinkaton, Pelipper, which is a little bit more passive, but like Fake Out into setting up Tailwind. This is really valuable into opposing Tailwind teams. Then bring out Floatzel, pick up some quick knockouts, and then use Gholdengo to clean up the game. I find that I don't bring Amoonguss and Dragonite as much, but of course they could be really valuable depending on how you position it. Amoonguss especially against Trick Room oriented teams, as well as like Armor Rouge Infinity teams. And then Dragonite just has good utility against a lot of Pokemon in the format. For example, King Gambit's actually a little bit annoying to fight against, and so Dragonite has some utility against that if you think it's worth dropping one of the Pokemon. The main thing I'd call out is like a lot of your damage comes from Gholdengo, Floatzel, and Dragonite. Like Pelipper, Tinkaton, and Amoonguss essentially do no damage, so you have to be really careful about how you utilize your sweepers. The very first game I practiced with this team, I went like Tinkaton, Gholdengo, Pelipper, Amoonguss, and my Gholdengo went down, and I was like, I can't do damage anymore. So you almost always want to bring at least 2 of the 3 between Gholdengo, Floatzel, and Dragonite, at least in my experience, and then go from there. But that's it for a breakdown. Let's quickly talk about some weaknesses. So in regards to weaknesses, I already kind of alluded to it earlier, but essentially you are really relying on Gholdengo, Floatzel, and Dragonite to win you the game in terms of damage output. One thing to note is that these Pokemon, at least Gholdengo and Floatzel, just really have no bulk. I mean, yeah, you have like 20 HP EVs here, but they'll go down very easily, right, to super effective attacks. So when you're using this team, your goal is to knock your opponent out before they can even retaliate back with a KO, or go for like, Steel Tera is nice because it does also get rid of your ghost typing, so it helps a little bit defensively. But just keep that in mind, because if you lose these Pokemon, you can, like, the game can snowball out of control very, very quickly, especially if you've got a combination of like Tinkaton, Pelipper, and Amoonguss. Like, these Pokemon, once again, are just super passive. And so Pokemon that can threaten these Pokemon, even with their Teras with a one-hit knockout, can be really scary. Floatzel is a really volatile Pokemon in my opinion, because yes, it can pressure with one-hit knockouts, but it is also very easy to KO in return. I've had games where I've lost, for example, where I end up wave crashing into something, that Pokemon switches out into something that resists it, and then I take so much recoil from wave crash plus the life orb, and then the partner Pokemon just KOs me, right? So that's one thing you have to be careful about. Floatzel often, like, you ideally want to position it where you can just like safely go for wave crashes, but that is easier said than done. So often you'll be in positions where you're kind of left with a guessing game, like, oh, is my opponent going to go for a defensive Tera or protect and then just try to damage me with the other Pokemon? I think with this team, it's so offensive that baiting out defensive Teras early on can be really valuable. But if you like trade a defensive Tera for your Pokemon, that's often not worth it. And so don't be afraid to protect or try to scout out for those protects, especially earlier on. But yeah, that's one of the weaknesses, right? Like, you have no bulk on Floatzel or Gholdengo, really easy for them to faint. And if they faint, then you lose a lot of firepower immediately. I've also struggled against like hard dedicated Trick Room. Now Amoonguss can be an answer into it, but sometimes those hard Trick Room teams will have like either safety goggles on something or just a way to counter Amoonguss. And so it can be a little bit hard to slot in Amoonguss, right? Especially because like Floatzel and Gholdengo really want to operate outside of Trick Room. So even if Amoonguss gets a Spore off while Trick Room is up, it's like, are you able to actually get KOs quickly enough with Gholdengo and Floatzel? Because like, you might trade a knockout, but then like your opponent would just consistently outspeed you under Trick Room. And so I've struggled a little bit against that as well. And just, yeah, like getting outsped under Trick Room and not being able to deny the Trick Room setup immediately. The way around that is kind of playing smart with Amoonguss. But once again, that's not like super easy, right? I think Dondozo actually can be really difficult to deal with as well. Now, you obviously have the Clear Smog here with Amoonguss, and so that's a way around Dondozo. But, Dondozos sometimes even carry Substitute, right? Or Flying Tera. And so if Amoonguss isn't able to get that Clear Smog off, well, Dondozo can kind of just wall everything else. The best way then to deal with it is maybe looking for a paralysis onto it with Tinkaton or Gholdengo launching Just Make It Rains because of Unaware. The special attack drops don't really count, or going for Thunderbolt. But I found that Dondozo in general can be pretty tough to fight against if you like don't know what kind of Dondozo set it has, because yeah, like, is it Substitute? Is it Flying Tera, for example? And if it's like, even just the fear of flying Tera would make me want to, like, defensively Tera Amoonguss just to get around it. But, like, then, you know, you might often waste your Tera just to get around a Pokemon with a Tera that you don't even know about. So, yeah. Those are a couple of things, but the main thing is I think the team can very quickly disintegrate if you prioritize KOing these Pokemon. It's easier, once again, easier said than done, just because you have Fake Out support and Amoonguss support, right, and Tailwind support from Pelipper. But if you're able to just quickly get a knockout on top one of these two, I think the game just kind of blows wide open. So, yeah, you have to be pretty smart about how you position these two. But I've talked for long enough. Let's get into these battles. Whoa. There's a Mismagius on that team. That is really cool. I've not really fought against that at all. But the rest of the team is awesome too. Stonejourner, Glimmora, Meowscarada, Dragonite, and the Murkrow. Okay. You know, this Tinkaton isn't really that offensive, but I feel like Play Rough is actually very good here. I think I honestly have just leading Tinkaton plus Gholdengo. Can pressure Fake Out into Make It Rain immediately. Pelipper Floatzel in the back. Could also go Tinkaton Pelipper, Fake Out into Tailwind on turn 1, for example. One of the setups I sometimes go for is, like, use this early, use Floatzel to clean up while Tailwind is up, and then end the game with Gholdengo. But, you know what, let's give just the Tinkaton Gholdengo lead a shot. I'll bring Pelipper Floatzel in the back. Salvage Dragonite, it's okay here. I think if I had slightly better attacks into... Well, I guess it's not terrible. It does actually probably get a 2-hit knockout onto most things, so maybe it's worth considering here. The main thing with this team, like I mentioned in the team preview, is you don't want to rely on only, like, too few offensive attackers. But because they have Murkrow, I also feel pressure to, like, try to set up the speed control, right? Because essentially, if I have Tailwind and the Rain up, Floatzel will just outspeed and potentially KO everything, right? So, that's kind of the theory here. And Gholdengo is also very good offensively here, but I've got to worry about potential wide guard from Stonejourner. It's going to be Glimmora and Murkrow. Okay. Works for me. Yeah, I mean... What am I worried about here? I think the only thing I'm worried about is Choice Specs Earth Power into Gholdengo. So honestly, turn 1 I'm down and just click Fake Out into Make It Rain. Wait, why don't I just Fake Out Murkrow? Fake Out Murkrow, Tera, Gholdengo, and just Make It Rain? Wait, but if Glimmora's max speed, they can outspeed us, right? Alright, I'll play it safe. I'm just gonna go for Fake Out regular Make It Rain here. And Murkrow switches, okay. Into Dragonite. That works out quite nicely already. And they Spiky Shield. Okay, good Spiky Shield. That's fine, though. Yeah, it makes the next turn interesting, because I'm probably going to want to switch out Gholdengo. Although now I don't have to worry about you being Choice Specs, for example. So that's good. I can play Rough. I can Thunder Wave. We have a lot of options right now. I could also just Tera Helping Hand Make It Rain here. I kind of expect Glimmora to... Is Glimmora really going to be sashed when you have Meowscarada, though, and Stonejourner? Like, I'm honestly kind of down to send it here. Helping Hand, Steal Tera, Make It Rain. Because, like, they're probably thinking, hey, you just took a bunch of damage, you know, you... Or, sorry, you not took a bunch of damage. You just lowered your special attack. What are you really going to pressure me with? And, like, Dragonite's not that scary right now, so Glimmora just switches. Back out into Murkrow. Fine by me. Like, right now, they have to do a lot of pivoting just to get out of this sticky situation, right? The best they can offer right now is Earthquake from Dragonite. I guess Choice Band Earthquake's probably my biggest fear. I'm also curious how fast Dragonite is, because sometimes Dragonites are just super bulky with, like, little speed investments, so then modest max speed Gholdengo can actually outspeed. And they are going to Tera, okay. What Tera is this going to be? Steel? Yeah. No, it's normal. What? Okay. I am really surprised to see that, because it doesn't really help them defensively. I guess it would help if I Shadow Balled here. And they're also probably not expecting me to have gone for this play, right? But yeah, we're just faster. So this is Choice Specs, Steel Tera, -1, Make It Rain. That is what this duo can do. I do think the Dragonite Tera, it didn't really make too much sense to me other than if you're really worried about fainting from a Shadow Ball. I think that's like the main explanation I can think of. But yeah, Gholdengo plus the Mold Breaker helping hand support was just so strong here. And the fact that they led a combo that was fairly weak into Gholdengo made things a lot easier. So Meowscarada and Glimmora come back out. I have Thunder Wave pressure. I have Floatzel in the back. Let's think about how to actually secure this victory. I'm fine just clicking Thunder Wave into Meowscarada and then switching out into Pelipper right now. Once we switch out into Pelipper, it enables Floatzel to just outspeed and KO both of these Pokemon. I went for Thunder Wave just to ensure like Gholdengo can outspeed Meowscarada in subsequent turns. Like you can see, right, without Wide Guard, defensive switches aren't even really that defensive, especially when you have Helping Hand. But it's the Helping Hand plus the Mold Breaker that takes things to the next level, because I think no one really expects that amount of damage output from Gholdengo just because it's not very common, right? So, yep, they knock off into the Pelipper slot. No problem. Tinkaton gets Thunder Wave off. Beautiful. Meowscarada is now paralyzed. And that enables Gholdengo and Floatzel to just sweep this end game. Yep, and the Earth Power. Perfect. Cool, cool. Now I can just Thunder Wave into Glimmora and Hurricane into Meowscarada. I was curious where the Focus Sash was on this team, but in the end, I think like Murkrow, Glimmora, and Meowscarada are all fairly frail, and so it's really important to, you know, get speed controls. I actually go for Sucker Punch on a Pelipper, but we have so much bulk, we survived that still. So, yeah, I mean, Tinkaton proved to be so valuable in this game, right? Kind of forcing... pressuring them to potentially switch out on turn 1 with that fake out, and then also just putting on so much pressure with Helping Hand, as Meowscarada is the sashed one. So, curious what item Glimmora has. And they end up being paralyzed, unfortunately. So, let's just go for Play Rough, onto Meowscarada, Hurricane, Glimmora. I mean, at this point, Gholdengo just comes out and clicks Make It Rain. So, Meowscarada's Protect. We've seen Sash, Sucker Punch, Protect. Obviously, have to respect Overgrow, Flower Trick. I actually did lose a game while practicing with this team because I didn't think about Overgrow and how it increases the damage output in the late game. Okay, Hurricane onto Glimmora. It's actually pretty decent damage, honestly. They get confused. But, like, there's no way they could ever win. Even if you crit Sucker Punch onto Gholdengo, it's not enough. But they are going to get Earth Power off into Tinkaton here. Almost a KO. And their Life Orb. Well, that answers my question on what item they were. Cool. Either way, though, the main point I was trying to make is that, like, people generally don't calc around Helping Hand plus Make It Rain, because you can't normally Helping Hand Gholdengo, right? And so, because people are so used to playing around just regular Choice Specs Gholdengo, and they like EV to survive that specifically, when you add Helping Hand to the mix, it just completely catches opponents off guard. So, yeah. I'm not making any switches here, by the way, because that's actually, I think, the only way I could lose this game. Right now, all I'm waiting for is a free switch into Floatzel plus the Gholdengo. I should always win the game, but one way I could throw this game is if I was like, oh, they're going to Sucker Punch me. I switch Pelipper out into Floatzel, and then they actually Flower Trick Floatzel for a KO. No reason to risk that. So, yeah. Glimora's confused, paralyzed, will hit itself in confusion, and I finally get the free switch in that I've been looking for all game into Floatzel. Floatzel hits the field. And we can just Helping Hand into Wave Crash, and that'll be a KO. Cool. I think this game was essentially over on the turn Dragonite Tera, though, and we just got a double knockout with the Helping Hand Make It Rain. It's just so powerful. And they did not have a single switch into Make It Rain in this game, right? They didn't bring Stonejourner, which has the potential of Wide Guard. And so that made things a lot easier for me. But yeah, that's exactly what Tinkaton and Gholdengo can do. And it's just such a fun and strong duo here. Ha ha ha. This is the Flamigo team that I used on YouTube. If you want to see me play with that team, I'll link it down in the description below. The team that we're going up against finished in the top 100 of the very first rank season in Scarlet and Violet. And it's got some really, really cool sets like Scrappy Flamigo with Fake Out plus Wide Guard, Perish Song, Grass Terra, Azumarill, just Murkrow. Oh, the Murkrow had Sunny Day, though. Wait, that actually makes my life a lot harder. It's Hex Will-O-Wisp Dragapult. And then Analytic Magnezone, and then Dragonite. So, Flamigo, one of the coolest things about it is that it can just close combat one-shot the Gholdengo. It's also Ghost Tera. So, like, normally my solution would be Fake Out and then just Make It Rain. But they could just Tera in front of me, which would be bad. Flamigo is actually really scary here, in my opinion. Alright. I'll tell you what. I'm down for a Pelipper Floatzel lead. I don't know. If I were them, I'd go Murkrow Flamigo, personally. It's not that easy to beat. Tinkaton, Dragonite, Gholdengo. It like feels illegal to bring Floatzel without Pelipper, but I'm gonna do it. It feels so wrong though. Like, oh, I don't have the rain, so I don't get the extra speed or the increase in damage from water type attacks. But okay, let's see. Let's see. We're gonna go with Dragapult and Murkrow. Okay. Well, this is Draco Meteor, but I have Assault Vest. I could also just switch into Gholdengo turn 1, for example, right? I don't know, though. With the Assault Vest, like, I'm actually pretty tempted to just stay in and attack, because I should survive Draco. Like, just fake out Murkrow. Actually, I don't even care about fake outing Murkrow, right? If anything, I want them to Tailwind right now. It doesn't help them that much. Because they're just going to Tailwind next turn anyway. So I'm actually down to just play rough and Dragon Claw turn 1. Okay, they Tailwind. Fine. They could Will-O-Wisp as well. Ooh, I should have thought about that a little bit more. Yeah. For that, okay, given that, I should have doubled up on Dragapult with Play Rough and Dragon Claw. Ton of damage on a Murkrow, though. I'll take that. Yeah, it's still so much damage onto both. I'm mainly curious now if they try to burn Tinkaton. Or they just Draco Dragonite. Because I do have a double knockout in front of me if I want it right now, right? I'm down to go for it, honestly. Especially with Assault Vest here. Okay, Dragapult just protects, sure. They foul play, but... that did so much. Yeah. So much more than I expected, honestly. Still fine. Like, I don't think they actually have good pressure onto Tinkaton, and I can use Tinkaton to slow them down with Thunder Wave. The main problem is they can Hex me with Dragapult. So one crazy thing I could do is actually Tera Dragonite if I'm predicting Hex from Dragapult to be immune to it. I don't think it's worth it, but it's just a play to consider. Anyway, I should have doubled up on a Dragapult turn. I just, like, for some reason was so sure they were going to Draco Meteor me, but then I realized, yeah, wait, they can just Will-O-Wisp me instead. I think we're going Flamigo. Okay, Flamigo's honestly not that scary right now, but it's scary for the Gholdengo that's waiting in the back. 2 turns of Tailwind. I'm down to Thunder Wave. Am I? Like, why not just play rough Tinkaton, extreme speed to break Sash? That seems pretty strong, actually. Okay, still no Tera. Sash is broken. They go for Hex, that's fine. Dragonite faints. As long as we don't misplay rough, we should be okay here. Okay, close combat. 192 down to 63. So that did what? Like 129 damage? Defenses are fallen, though. Another one will KO me. Play rough does connect. Okay, not a terrible trade. I expect Dragonite maybe to be their last one. But if that's the case, I think Floatzel Gholdengo can seal this up, because Floatzel should be faster than... Okay, it's Magnezone. I think that's okay. This is actually going to be pretty close, though, right? Spec Shadow Ball is pretty good. Oh, wait. They have Feint. They could totally Feint Floatzel here. I'm actually very worried about Feint, so I'm thinking about just trying to KO the Flamigo outright. Yeah, I'm gonna Helping Hand Aqua Jet, but like what I'm worried about is they're Analytic, right? Does Analytic Thunderbolt just one-shot Gholdengo? Because essentially what I'm trying to do is one-shot the Flamigo here, then I bring out Gholdengo, and then just Helping Hand Spec Shadow Ball into them. Yeah, I just did not want to lose to, like, them reading a Protect and then fainting me. Oh, that's huge. I think that actually wins me the game. Let's see. Not necessarily if I don't pick up a one-hit knockout here. But they're at -1 defense. This is Helping Hand Life Orb boosted, plus Tera. Beautiful. Whew. That was scary. But I knew Flamigo didn't have Protect there, so I knew that knockout was always guaranteed. Basically, like, the way I thought about this is, okay, let's say you Feint me. Feint plus Discharge would have been the sickest play from their end, but I didn't think they'd go for that. So we can just Helping Hand now and Wave Crash. It feels so weird to bring Floatzel without Pelipper, but it was actually so good here for me. I needed it. I absolutely needed it. I don't think Pelipper would have done anything for me, honestly. So, Helping Hand Wave Crash. Nice job, Floatzel. Way to go. Way to show that you don't always need Pelipper to win. Very happy about that. This is one really fun thing about the support Tinkaton, right? Like, it's mainly used for the Gholdengo, but the Helping Hand support next to Floatzel can like be absolutely incredible as well. So, yeah. I think the main advantage is just knowing my opponent's sets in that battle, and then also, like, it's like the classic situation with Murkrow, right? Where it's like, Murkrow hangs on, but what is it really going to do after setting up Tailwind? And so we were able to leverage that to our advantage. The Dragon Ball was pretty scary, but I think having the Assault Vest made it a lot harder for my opponent to, like, break through and actually knock out the Dragonite. They did a great job of not clicking Draco Meteor earlier on. I think going for Will-O-Wisp and Hex was really smart. But essentially, they just never had that much damage out on the field. And that's, like, actually, when I used that team, one thing that I struggled with was, like, oh, how do I use Murkrow and actually sweep quickly enough under Tailwind? So, yeah, it's not an easy team to execute. But, you know, that team is super, super fun. And I think, you know, my opponent did all that they could, I feel like, with the resources that they had. Trying to think, like, how else they could have played it differently. I think them having Magnezone actually limited their options a little bit. But the Magnezone bring makes sense, because otherwise Rain can be pretty scary. Azumarill is what I was worried about a little bit more, but I can see why they wouldn't want to bring that, because it's not that good into Gholdengo, and, like, I don't think Play Rough one-shots the Floatzel either. So, yeah. Ooh, okay. Pelipper, Dondozo, Tatsugiri, Barraskewda, King Gambit, Pawmot. I don't like the looks of this. I think they have a lot of scary offense. I played a bunch of games with this team, but I've actually not run into Dondozo. I think Amoonguss is probably our best bet since we have clear Smog. Can Thunder Wave it with Tinkaton. Dragonite does have Dragon Claw. Inner Focus makes me immune to flinches from Pawmot. I don't know. This doesn't look like a great matchup because I think they have everything resists Make It Rain from Gholdengo, and then, like, they also resist Floatzel really well. And those are our two primary attackers. Now, we still do a lot of damage with Bolt, and, like, for example, the Gholdengo here does have the Specs Thunderbolt, right? I'm actually still thinking Tinkaton plus Gholdengo. I don't think I bother with my own Pelipper, though. Like, I think I want Floatzel plus Amoonguss. Maybe even Dragonite over Floatzel. I do think being able to take advantage of their rain is valuable, though. Okay, let's try this out. I'm pretty worried about this matchup, though. I think, like, the team that we're using, so much damage output comes from Gholdengo and Floatzel being able to just one-shot things. And I think my ability to one-shot things is severely limited in this matchup. So, we'll do our best, but I think this is going to be a tough one. And that's what Pokemon is sometimes. You're not always going to have good matchups across the board, and this is a really cool team, honestly. So, they go with Pawmot plus Dondozo, which is interesting. Okay. That's very interesting. Because you could just switch Pawmot out into Tatsugiri immediately and then, like, protect Dondozo. Like, I'm down to switch into a Moongus here and actually Specs Thunderbolt the Dondozo. They could just go into Pelipper, or sorry, into Tatsugiri and Earthquake, but given that Tinkaton's switching out first, that looks like it should not be the case. Okay, Dondozo protects. That's fine, though. I'll have to reveal the Thunderbolt, though, which is a little unfortunate. Oh, interesting. Palmot's slower. Huh. Did not expect that. And they nuzzle me. Okay. A little bit less than ideal. I'm mainly curious now if Dondozo bothers Terraing. It's a good protect turn one. I could have just gone for Make It Rain instead. That was probably the better play, but wanted to try to punish them a little bit heavier if I could. I'm already in a really bad spot. I'm going to Thunderbolt Spore here, but I think they might switch into Tatsugiri. And they should just go for a Nuzzle. Okay, you know what? I'll take that. Because Dondozo shouldn't deal that much to me here. Yeah, and I still get Specs Thunderbolt off. Wait, that's huge, honestly. Please don't get parried. Please, please. Okay. Choice Specs Gholdengo is kind of putting in a clinic right now. I didn't think he would get a one-hit KO on a Dondozo. But I'll gladly take that. So King Gambit switches out now. This is still far from over, though, because, like, if this thing just wakes up at any point, right, you can just heal back up, which is kind of a problem. I'm going to Spore King Gambit. And switch into Floatzel. Okay. Like, I really want to KO Palmod ASAP, right? Because if it wakes up and gets Revival Blessing off, it's very bad news for me. So it stays asleep. No Tera still for my opponent. Swords Dance. Okay. But do you have safety goggles, or am I going to be able to put you to sleep? Okay. That's bad news for me. I'm still going to Spore King Gambit here and Wave Crash into Palmot. Wait, they could just Sucker Punch me, though. But are you really going to Sucker Punch when I have a Moongus out? I think it's fairly risky. I'm going to Spore Wave Crash. They go for a Tera. Oh my gosh, if it's going to be Grass Tera King Gambit, I'm going to cry. Okay, it's Dark. That makes me think they're trying to go all in on knocking out a Moongus here, which would make some sense. Oh, not getting that Spore off is so bad, though. They did go for Sucker Punch. Wow, okay. Nicely done. Okay, this is okay, though, if I get the Spore off. Actually, that really makes me think they're Goggles. But if they're not Goggles, that's wild. Yeah, they're Goggles. Okay, well, the downside is I didn't get to figure that out a turn earlier, but I don't even know if I can win with that. Man, their team had so much good counterplay, even with, like, that really strong turn one. Without knowing they were Goggles, I had to waste an extra turn just to get to where I am. I suppose I do have Play Rough on this. But they can just Revival Blessing now. Oh. Unless I think Gholdengo can somehow survive. +2 Dark Tera Sucker Punch. Or for some reason they don't Sucker Punch. Oh, wait, no. They just outspeed me because I'm parried here, right? Unless they're really slow. I should have gone Tinkaton there to Play Rough. But to be honest, Play Rough's not even KOing. I think they kind of just sweep me here anyway. I think I'm kind of just going to go for the Desperation play. Like, hope for some reason Cleave doesn't KO me. I Pollen Puff. Yeah, Pollen Puff, Tera, Specs Make It Rain, and just pick up a double KO. But, oh, Swords Dance plus Goggles was a gnarly combo here. I can't beat that super easily. I don't really mind losing this one, though, because I think their team is really hard to beat, and they had the surprise safety goggles Swords Dance set, right? Like, in a best of one, that's going to get me most of the time. And they do just Sucker Punch, yep. Yeah, it's not enough. Gholdengo just faints. My best bet was hoping that would survive. I don't know, I guess I could go Tinkaton, hope for a critical hit as well. But the problem is, like, the Palmot's just on a timer. And now it's just going to wake up, right? But I guess if I went Tinkaton, well, they would just wake up this next turn and be able to Revival Blessing. I can't beat this King Gambit unless I do a lot of damage to it pre-Swords Dance. Dragonite would be the adjustment I'd make in a best of 3. Because I would bring, Dragonite can at least pressure with low kick. But in this matchup, like, Dragonite didn't feel great when they have, like, potential, like, all the rain combinations on their side, right? So, yeah. I'll Spore. I am curious how much Play Rough does. So I just at least want to go for that and find out. They just protect. Yeah, okay. And Revival Blessing. It looked so good after we just one-shot Dondozo, but this King Gambit set just completely bodies what we have here, unfortunately. I do think it was, yeah, it would have been better to go Tinkaton first, and then at least pressure Play Rough. But to be honest, I think with Revival Blessing, I did not have enough tools to win this endgame. Oh, that is sick as well. Haha, that is so cool. Nicely played. I do want to see it Play Rough KOs, because if it does, then I still don't know if I really had it easy out in this one, but yeah. I don't think it KOs, though. Like, Tinkaton's just not very offensive. And if it's Swords Dance King Gambit, I would expect it to have a little bit more HP investment as well. I think leading Amoonguss could have given me a better shot, but... Oh my gosh. That did nothing. Yeah. I had really no way to win this then. Okay, now I'm going to forfeit after this one. There's no way we can win. The Ironhead actually just one-shots Tinkaton. I think that's the strongest I've ever seen a Safety Goggles King Gambit with Swords Dance look. It was very impressive. And that's why you run Safety Goggles, right? It can completely invalidate a Pokemon like Amoonguss. It's all the difference between, like if they don't have goggles, not only do I put you to sleep, but I can also Rage Powder your Sucker Punches away, and then we're in pretty good shape. But, you know, people are all, like, often say, like, oh, sleep is so hard to play around, or, like, Amoonguss is super broken, and that's exactly, like, my opponent and how they just, you know, demonstrated how, like, Safety Goggles can be used. Like, that's exactly why that item can be so valuable, right? Because I think if they don't have Safety Goggles, yeah, Amoonguss can just completely sweep their team. But a single item choice just turns the matchup so much more into their favor, and the way they executed it was really cool as well. So, what makes Palmot hard to play against is, like, you kind of have to knock it out early, because if you don't KO it, even if you pick up a knockout onto its partners, it's just on a timer where it can just heal up, you know, its partners. Seeing the Lepa Berry is interesting as well, especially since my Gholdengo was faster. If I were to replay that game, I wonder if there's any potential to just, like, kind of aggressively target down the Palmot early. But to be honest, this matchup is so hard. Like, even if we were to play a best of 3 and I knew they, you know, their sets and I knew Gholdengo's faster, it's hard because I still have to acknowledge the Dondozo Tatsugiri pressure at any point in the game. And if the King Gambit gets a single Swords Dance off, I'm also just in a ton of trouble, because the +2 Sucker Punch... Excuse me. The +2 Sucker Punch plus the Dark Tera is just so strong, because Amoonguss can't redirect it away. The only way I can really one-shot you is with, like, Wave Crash from the Floatzel or the King Gambit, but with Safety Goggles, I can't Rage Powder away, and the Floatzel and the King Gambit have, or sorry, Floatzel and the Gholdengo have no bulk, so yeah. There's already a tough matchup, and then it had even cooler sets to make things tougher, but very well played by my opponent, and yeah, I've, like, the swing from feeling like, oh my gosh, I've won this game after KOing Dondozo to, oh my gosh, this is just completely over. I don't think the parry even mattered, by the way. I think, like, yeah, if I had one extra turn to work with, I would at least know their goggles, but how in the world am I even beating King Gambit at that point, right? I don't see a very clear path, so yeah. Okay, this is also a familiar team. This is one of the teams that I used recently on YouTube, if you want to see me play with it. I think it's the exact same team, but it's a team that got top 32 at Regionals, and San Diego Regionals, which was the first major tournament in North America for Scarlet and Violet VGC. And it has Tailwind, Dragon Dance, Weakness Policy Dragonite, as well as Nasty Plot Gholdengo. And then it's a support Mousehold. So, we don't really have that many ways to activate Policy, which is good. I have Ice Spinner here, which is also nice. Specs Gholdengo in general with Make It Rain is incredibly powerful here. I'm definitely down for... I think I'm down for Tinkaton plus Gholdengo, just hoping hand Make It Rain. I'm a little bit worried about a Zoomeril. But Make It Rain's really good against that. Like, I might just go Pelipper Floatzel in the back. Honestly, I think the debate is, do I even need Pelipper? Because I could drop it for Dragonite. I feel like one thing I do with this team too much when I practice with it was bringing Pelipper all the time. Does Dragonite really help me that much, though? Honestly, in this matchup, I don't think so. So I'll just bring Pelipper. Let's think about what we're trying to accomplish here. I think Gholdengo is easily the most important Pokemon for me, and if I lose it early on, I'm going to be in a really big hole. So I ideally want to leverage it to the best of my abilities. Gholdengo Mousehold. Okay, I am fairly okay seeing that lead. I think turn 1 is interesting because they could follow me. I honestly want to just go for Specs helping hand Make It Rain turn 1. It just does so much damage, even with Friend Guard. Let's go for it. This combo is just nutty, right? Like, their Gholdengo will survive, but then where do you go on turn 2, right? Also, do you protect Mousehold, right? Because if Mousehold does not... if I were my opponent, by the way, I would always go protect Nasty Paw turn 1. I said always, but maybe not every time, but like the majority of the time. They don't Tera to start. Okay. There's Helping Hand. No switch. And this is what we're here to do. So, Specs Make It Rain. Also, our Gholdengo moves first. I should know how fast the opposing Gholdengo is, but look at that, right? That was a Friend Guard resisted attack, and we did 60% to their Gholdengo. It's just bonkers in terms of damage. They actually just Shadow Ball. Okay, follow me, Shadow Ball. I will gladly take that. I'll survive that. Beautiful. They take Life Orb damage. Excellent. I can Thunder Wave now, whatever is coming out next to the Gholdengo. I could obviously just Helping Hand Make It Rain again, but I think getting some speed control right now would probably be pretty good. For example, pivot my Gholdengo out into Pelipper. But we'll see what comes out. Meowscarada scares me right now, but I think they bring it out. The interesting debate is whether or not I should consider just play rough onto it, but I think it's fine to switch into Pelipper. Oh, I actually think play rough is worth it here because I have Aqua Jet in the back. But if I Thunder Wave it now, Pelipper outspeeds. It should be a knockoff into Gholdengo or a Flower Trick. Maybe they Make It Rain. No, I'm just going to play rough here. I think bringing it down to Sash is valuable enough. I should be in really good shape after turn 1, but let's like get over the finish line, right? Because, yeah, I have a lead, but I could easily lose this still. That makes things a lot easier for me, though. Beautiful. Okay. Okay. Okay, that makes the game a lot harder for me. Yeah, oof. Especially... because they could Sucker Punch? Man, that's brutal. That is really bad. Tailwind. Play rough again. Okay, they just Flower Trick. Man, I mean, I could still win for sure, but let's think about how we're gonna get there now. Okay, Aqua Jet will KO either Pokemon at this point. Oh my gosh. I do wonder if they actually could have just gotten the knockout there anyway without the crit because it was single target. But, sheesh. Game is not making it easy for me right now. Okay. Well, I've got Aqua Jet. Our Gholdengo was faster earlier than their Gholdengo. I could beat Skeletor or Dragonite. Azumarill is what I'm worried about as their final Pokemon, but we could also win against that. I'm gonna Aqua Jet Meowscarada and just Shadow Ball here. Shadow Ball's good, right? It covers for all of their last 3 Pokemon. Oh, not against normal Tera Dragonite, I guess. They're not gonna bring Skeletor. It's gotta be Azumarill. Okay, I'll Shadow Ball here. Actually, I'll Thunderbolt. Yeah, Meowscarada protects. Man, what a couple of turns. So unfortunate. But this is one of those games where you look at it and be like, well, you know, I got incredibly unlucky in back two-turn swing. And it's still not over yet, right? I could still win, but I think if Azumarill's the last one, it's going to be tough. It's Dragonite. Okay. Huh. I don't think you KO Floatzel, honestly, so I think we just Aqua Jet here. And Thunderbolt, right? It's Fire Punch, Extreme Speed. You have to Fire Punch Gholdengo at some point. Wow, actually locking in a Thunderbolt may have saved me. Yeah, they E-Speed into us. I KO Meowscarada. I think we might be okay. How much does Thunderbolt Choice Specs do? So, like, they might Fire Punch me on Gholdengo now, right? Or they might Extreme Speed. The question is whether or not I think Aqua Jet really changes the damage. I could also Protect here with Floatzel. I think our Gholdengo is faster. Okay, I'm actually... Oh, wait. Extreme Speed's higher prio than Aqua Jet anyway, right? Might as well just Ice Spinner then. And Specs T-Bolt. They did just Extreme Speed, though. I don't know. I really didn't want to Protect her and just have them Fire Punch Gholdengo for the win. And I think 2 Thunderbolts KOs Dragonite right now with Choice Specs. Yeah. They have Fire Punch. I just don't remember if they were faster or not, but we're modest max speed here. The Dragonite was fairly slow because it was a Dragon Dance Tailwind set, so... Yeah, they Tera, but that doesn't... Oh, wait. I'm Steel typing right now. Tera E-Speed might just KO me. I should have thought about that. I don't think it does because it's not Choice Banded, but... Let's see. Oh my gosh. That game was way too stressful. I was like, we're in such good shape. What could go wrong? I am actually going to do that damage calc against Tinkaton, though, because that crit may have actually not even mattered, right? I was like getting frustrated by it, but there's a possibility that with single target and Life Orb, it's just enough to KO Tinkaton. So I do want to pull up that damage calc quickly because I don't know that at all off the top of my head, especially with it being single target. But yeah, we were able to win. I do think, yeah, it was interesting. You know, it was like, oh, they're probably a Azumarill in the back. But yeah, if I had locked into Shadow Ball, I actually would have been really done for in this one because then Dragonite just Terras and I'm completely walled by it. So that's why when you're using a choice Pokemon and you're down, you really need to think about what move to lock into. But what a set of games here. Let's pull up the damage calc, though, real quick. So, Make It Rain here, single target against the Tinkaton EV spread that we're using would have done 86% maximum, and so that's never a one-hit knockout without the critical hit. That means we would have eaten up the hit, healed up with Citrus Berry. Then the interesting thing to think about is how would I have played the battle from there on, right? So I think the obvious decision is to go out into Floatzel. Then I think there are a couple plays I can make. The first one is Aqua Jet into Meowscarada and play Rough onto the Gholdengo. The second is Aqua Jet into the Gholdengo slot. And then, like, for example, I'm not sure actually what I would do with Tinkaton there. I can consider switching out. Basically, I would Aqua Jet into the Gholdengo there if I expect Meowscarada to protect, for example. The third option is to protect my Floatzel and just play Rough into their Gholdengo. So I'm bringing all of this up because, like, if you see here, play rough does like 12 to 14%. Their Gholdengo was in red HP range, but I couldn't tell where on the spectrum it was exactly. It felt like it was like between 10 and 15%, right? But if it's 15%, I never KO with play rough. But the idea is basically, hey, like, if play rough KOs the Gholdengo, great, then I can just Aqua Jet to finish off the Meowscarada, which is excellent as well. If I protect there and they knock out the Tinkaton without me getting any damage off, or play rough, like, goes into Gholdengo, then I'd be in a scenario where maybe we trade Tinkaton for Gholdengo, and then I bring out my Gholdengo, but now I know Dragonite's your final Pokemon, so I'm more incentivized to click any other move rather than Thunderbolt, for example, right? One of the tough things about me eating up that crit was having to lock into a move a little bit sooner than I was expecting to, and fortunately ended up being okay. Thunderbolt would have hedged for both Dragonite as well as the Azumarill, but wouldn't have been as strong against the Skeledirge, although Floatzel would have been very powerful into Skeledirge. One other thing is that the Dragonite Tera kind of late here, so I was curious how much extreme speed normal Tera does into Floatzel. It's a lot of damage. It's 74 to 88%, but it actually wouldn't have changed the outcome of that battle if the Dragonite had Terra'd earlier. And the reason why it actually made sense for them to not Terra earlier is because if you do Terra, then you become, like, water type attacks do neutral damage to you, right? And so that can be a little bit scary, so they were maybe trying to cover for that. But basically, even with the Life Orb, damage taken into account, like, Life Orb plus a max roll extreme speed is never a KO, so they're going to have the extreme speed into the Floatzel slot twice anyway. So, yeah. Anyway, that was a really fun set of battles, and this team is just so cool. It's really fun to utilize Mold Breaker in such a unique way. Like, I've never seen it being used before because, of course, we haven't really had abilities like Gholdengo's ability in previous generations, and so to mix, the Tinkaton plus Gholdengo, I think it's just super fun. But that's going to be it for this one, so thank you so much as always for joining me, and I'll hopefully see you soon. All right, peace.